What was the bull like?
Man, I ain't never been with a bull in my life. But he didn't move, so I was good. I just got to sit there and look pretty. But I got to make a hat.
Oh, you got to made the hat.
Yeah, well, I picked out the stuff to make the hat. But
Look at that.
I got a little Joker and a little G on the back. I'm gonna wear it when we come down to Austin. It was cool, man.
He's intense. He's very intense. But he means well. He's very competitive. He's just a guy who wants to go out there and win and wants to bring the best out of you. That's one reason why I came to Georgia, just to be around a guy like that. That was Malaki Starks talking about Kirby Smart. You know, we were both at Malachi's commitment to Georgia, and you're going to go to play 20 miles away from where you grew up for a guy who played at that school, who played that position, and is very demanding. And Malaki Starks had all those things to say. He wants to get the best out of you.
It's a big draw for going to Georgia, Kirby. Right?
For sure.
It's a big reason. He was talking about, in the breakout session, his reasoning going to Georgia, how I might not start as a freshman. I might not play for a couple of years going to a Georgia, and he says that shies away a lot of people in the recruiting process, and that he bet on himself going, and it did work out, because what he do on the second drive of his life, one of the most impressive catches I've seen in a live game.
That was freaky.
Just in general, really. So he's always been an ultra talented player. He's one of he was.
How much did you see him in Jefferson?
3 or 4 times.
Yeah,
a couple times each year, his junior and senior year.
Well, he couldn't be freaky deaky because there weren't plays.
He was the
on defense.
He was the on defense.
Yeah,
on defense. He didn't do much on defense when I was there, just because they weren't putting the ball in the air. But dude's the option quarterback, and he's running around.
No,
people.
He was good at it. Him and Sammy Brown.
Yeah.
I mean, that was.
Those are 2 legit 5 stars, and they're going to play each other week 1.
Yeah, I forgot about that because everybody here, we're at Media Days. I don't know when this video is going to come out.
If you forgot about a storyline, you'll be reminded.
I mean, it's as if they're not. It's so the SEC is obviously, I've covered the league for almost a quarter century, and it's a great league, and there's a lot of power in this league. But Georgia opens up with a very legitimate foe. We're not talking about NC State here. Clemson has some firepower. Now, not on offense necessarily, but they have, that's a legitimate. That's not being brought up at all. So everyone wants to know about Texas. Everyone wants to know about what's going to be like for Oklahoma. Mainly, I hear Texas more than anything. Of course, we're in Dallas. But you know what it's going to be like? It's going to be very difficult. That's what it's going to be like. And because you're
dealing a little
with
bit differently about that game than you do.
About
I do think
Texas,
they're gonna,
Georgia?
No, Georgia. Clemson.
Oh, Georgia Clemson. Yeah.
I think they're going to handle business in a way.
Oh, I think they do too. We have to be. I had this conversation with our audience not that long ago. I say, we're not going to lie to you. Yeah. We're going to be honest with you. I don't think Clemson wins that game. My point is that people are asking more about Georgia, Texas, and Georgia, etc.
New.
They want new. Well, Gary Stokan is the Chick-fil-A, is the Peach Bowl CEO, and he's walked by here several times. And Gary, when I talked with him in 2001, when this game was coming up, he was certain that and a lot of people were, that it would be a top 10 matchup. It's not a top 10 matchup. It's going to be like number 1 against 15 or something like that. That's still a really good matchup. But the last time we were there, Malaki Starks was out here balling out immediately. But at Media Days, we've forgotten that. But anyway, back to Malaki. The play against Oregon, he had the game-clinching interception against Auburn. Was Auburn going to go down the field there and win that game?
I don't think so.
But
he made sure it didn't happen.
Yeah.
He made sure it didn't happen. The play against Missouri at the end of the first half in 2021, when he tracks the running 2022.
That is probably the most important play of the 22 regular season. You want to go ahead and talk about your vantage point?
It was because I was elevated.
Right.
Hawked that guy down.
Yeah.
And they don't score. They end up not scoring a touchdown on the play. They stop him on the 1 or 2 yard line, and they don't score a touchdown on that possession. And that changed the whole game, because you're talking about a second half that's a lot more difficult.
They won that game by 4, right? 26
to 22.
So
and
that
they won
game,
that game by just kind of swallowing them up in the second half. And
Correct.
if they were down by more, they would have had to have a different game.
it would be a different conversation. You don't know. I mean, then at the end of the game, they're going down there not to kill the clock, but to go try to win it. Which they were, because they were slicing through Missouri. But that's not the point. When do you need a player to make a big play? You need them to make a big play when you need them.
When you need them to make a big
and
play.
the only way to do that is to do it consistent. The thing about Malaki Starks, I think, yes, he's really good and all that. That's great, but he is a very consistent player for them. He is always there. He's always doing stuff. And the thing that will be different for Malaki this year coming into it is Bullard not around. Lassiter not around. It's his ball game now. That'll be different for him.
Yeah, he's the guy in the secondary now.
Right.
I asked him about that today. I said, I mean, when did you really realize, like, hey, like, I'm the older guy now. These guys are coming to me. They're asking me all the questions. And he said it was when he was dinged up in the spring. And he had to kind of play more of a coach role. And he realized, oh, man, I am to these people what Christopher Smith was to me when I first got there. Christopher Smith, the guy that makes big plays and big moments.
Chris Smith was exceptionally good and just made plays constantly, and he was not a 5-star guy, and when you're learning from that, and then it just the learning how to work matters, and when you watch other people do it, it's important to pick those things up. If you're learning from Malaki Starks or watching Malaki Starks, that's awesome, because he learned from Christopher Smith, and it just breeds upon itself. That guy played with Keely Ringo, who made arguably the most important play of Kirby's time. Perhaps Georgia's.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends if you think Lindsey Scott was bigger. That's a good question. And then you've got so you got Keely, Christopher Smith, Bullard, and Lassiter.
Tucky Smith.
I mean, they had some players, man, and he's been maybe arguably the best DB they've had while he's been there.
Not statistically, but just watching him play and watching him execute.
Bullard was really good too, though.
Bullard was. There's no other way to put it. Bullard was a menace. Like that's the way I always describe him. He changed football games.
And if you're gonna go play defensive back at Georgia with Kirby as your head coach,
you gotta be a little bit of a psycho too. I mean, you gotta want to kill people out there.
I mean, it definitely, again.
There's those DBs, man. You saw what Kamari Lassiter. That dude celebrated getting up from injury like it was a touchdown. Like he celebrated every single tackle. Those guys were a little psychotic.
Well, they were definitely eager to play.
It gets passed on.
It gets passed on
from their coaching.
Let's go backward to when Malaki was picking Georgia over Clemson. I think it was Clemson. Clemson, Alabama.
Clemson, Alabama were the other two hats.
I know it was Clemson because I think that was there too. And of course, Clemson's not that far from Jefferson. But his mom was so stressed out that day. They were setting everything up, and Malaki was completely cool about it. All good, and we've seen him from day one. He's probably played not quite 30 games at Georgia, 28, 29, something like that.
29-ish.
And
assuming he's played all games, which I think he has.
I think Ohio State beat Georgia up with some really good, a superb quarterback and some really good wide receivers.
And he was, right there on the Marvin Harrison Jr. touchdowns. He ended up having to pick him up, and you learn in those moments too. I mean,
that was the thing. I know we're talking about Malaki, but Carson Beck. We'll talk about this on another video. But Carson Beck's journey really has been. When you get beat up or you have tough moments, it doesn't mean that things are bad. You can grow from those. And Malaki, I think, there's been growth all along the way. Maybe there wasn't just one moment for Malaki like there was perhaps with Carson, but playing for Kirby Smart at DB at Georgia.
Think about it, man. Lewis Cine before then.
Lewis Cine was awesome.
Lewis Cine tried to take off Kyle Pitts' head. those guys come ready to play. You've got to be there. But the other thing too that they look for, and why Malaki Starks was really like the perfect DB recruit for them, is the cerebral part of it. And
Yeah, he's smart.
Mature, very well spoken, gets his point across. I think he understands his position in life a lot. I think he understands
He's an
the
adult.
influence he has. He's an adult. That's a very good
There
way
he
to
is
put
right
it.
there.
Yeah, there he is.
Everybody's. Is that his? What is this? What do we? Oh, is this a? What is
this-
So
this?
you know that bull riding station?
Yes, right.
Do you see him that?
Yeah, everybody can see it on the screen. You look insane. What about?
I think it's awesome.
You gotta leave it on. Hold on.
I gotta leave it on.
This is fascinating
this
right
is
now.
one
My
of the
daughter
coolest
wants
things
me to
I've
bring
ever
a cowboy hat back from.
You can see we got the Joker card.
Did
right there,
Malaki go on the bull?
man. Did he wear this?
Did he wear that on the bull? Did he
Yeah.
get on the? He got on the
You'll
bull.
see it eventually.
Oh my god!
This is awesome.
Shock! Are you getting on the bull?
Right after you.
But yeah, they gave that personalized hat to everybody, so you got the
Malaki.
card singed. And
That's really cool.
feathered.
We're actually doing something on you. You got on that bull.
Yeah, we're talking about you right now.
Yeah,
You got on the bull. Here, what was the bull like?
man. I ain't never been on a bull in my life, but it didn't move, so I was good. I just got to sit there and look pretty. But I got to make a hat.
Oh, you got to make. You made the hat.
Yeah, well, I picked out the stuff to make the hat. But
Look at that.
I got a little Joker and a little G on the back. I'm gonna wear it when we come down to Austin. It was cool, man. It was cool.
All right. Hey, yeah, we're cool. Thanks for popping by. Good to see you, man. Tell your mom I said hey.
Yes, sir. I will.
Oh man. Bye. Be safe. Well, you never know what's gonna happen here at Dog Post. So you can make your own hat, but
That was I need
that's
that.
the most
I need
bizarre
that.
thing I've ever seen.
I'm gonna have to
in my
ask them
life.
for one of those.
He is an adult, and there's it's hard playing for Kirby, but I don't get the impression that it bothers him. I'll just say that.
No, Bloody Tuesday was brought up, as it gets brought up a lot. They talk.
That's
A lot of the players consider that tougher than a lot of the games.
It
Bloody
is tougher
Tuesday.
than the games,
And
man.
part of that is because of how good they all are, and then it's iron sharpens iron kind of deal.
But dude, you get to leave a game. You can come off the field during a game, like you're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
playing for half the game.
Yeah.
The offense goes out there, but like in that situation, excuse me, you're practicing 2 straight hours, 2.5, whatever it is. It's exhausting. He's ready to ride the bull.
You know what? And we talked about this a little bit. They're excited about that Texas game. I will say, there's excitement.
Carson
about that.
was.
That's what
Carson
Malaki
was.
was.
It's
Malaki
going to
was.
be challenging playing in front of 100,000 people. It's hard playing at Tennessee.
It's probably going to end up being at night.
I
Well,
think
mean,
so, man. That's what it seems like to me.
Which will be fun, but it's going to be a really tough environment, and they're going to have that. They're going to have that all year. But guys like Malaki, who can make those plays and can lead, are the reason why they can win those games.
Yeah.
As Michael Williams is walking by.
Just
We're
as an
getting
aside, in media days, you try to find places. We're right across from the bathroom, so it's not the most ideal spot on earth, but it's where it is, and that's led us to other things. But I think for Georgia, wrapping up Macau, excuse me. Oh my God, dude! I'm saying Malaki and Macau constantly because they both are similar ages, etc. But Starks is going to have a great opportunity to win the Thorpe Award this year, etc. He's a great player for Georgia. That 24.
It is. It really is. Yes.
I mean, he should be an All-American this season.
He was this past year, right?
Yeah, I think so. And
They can have a handful of All-Americans, but it's important that he plays that well because they are losing a lot. in
I
that
mean,
secondary.
Bullard was a beast, man. He was a lot of trouble last year. These guys, they weren't.
They're second-round picks in the NFL.
But the other thing is too, like Humphrey and those guys who have not. Now it's their obligation. It's not their turn. It's their obligation to step their game up, for lack of a better term. And Malaki can get better too. But I think that they're going to need him to make plays like he did against Missouri. If you do that, you stand a chance to win the national championship. But you got to do that all the time. You can't just sort of turn it on.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. All right, we're gonna go ride that bull.
We're gonna.
I'm not riding the bull. I'm gonna wait for DJ Shockley to do